synonyms does not mean that they're the same. Okay, synonyms are not the same meaning. They're similar. So if you can't think of the right word, sometimes you can use a synonym instead. Or if you are writing a story and you don't always want to say the same word, you can use synonyms sometimes. The important thing is to know when they're different and how they're different. So, sometimes it's a matter of category. For example, dictionaries are books, right? So whenever I'm talking about your dictionary, I can use the word book. But not all books are dictionaries. So if I'm talking about a novel, I can't use the word dictionary, right? So there's that kind of synonym when we talk about categories. All dogs are animals, but not all animals are dogs, right? If we talk about dogs, we have many different breeds of dogs. There's many different kinds of dogs, right? And with some of them, we can use a word like hound. A hound is a certain kind of dog. So again, all hounds are dogs. Not all dogs are hounds. But the difference between a hound and another kind of dog isn't as important. So sometimes we use the word hound when we just mean dogs in general. Okay? So sometimes the difference is more important. Sometimes it's not really that big a deal. So if we want to talk about when they're different, then we need to be able to say this one is used more for this meaning. If you're clever, you can think fast. The other one is used for more of a different focus. If you're wise, that means you understand very well. You understand a lot. Okay? When it comes to vocabulary like this, one of the problems is if all you want to say is his behavior was strange, it amazed her, it confounded her, it perplexed her, it surprised her, it fascinated her, it astounded her. Dokai. If we just want to say his behavior was strange. Alright? Alright? If that's all you're saying, then yes, these are synonyms. But our problem comes that, for one thing, tests like the GEPT don't understand English. They want you to memorize what one dictionary says for the word, and it's not a good way to use language. But we still have tests, and it still makes for a fun question. If we look at each of these words and where they come from, then we can look at them as synonyms, but we can still see the differences. Okay? So, amaze, that has its own meaning. But in this sentence here, if we want to talk about it confounding her, all right? This confound, it does, if you go far enough back, have a relationship with this word found. But it's not I find, I found. It's not that found, okay? It's more like somebody founded this university 20, 30 years ago. I don't know, it's not that old, is it? 中国科技大学没有那么, it's not that many law, right? You use law for universities, or it's only for people? Okay, another question? Anyway, so when we use the word found, it does have other meanings. And sometimes we'll see it in parts like, for example, something being profound. Okay? But in this context here, this one basically is the same meaning as confuse. Okay? So we have a similar root here, and sometimes, honestly, the F isn't part of the root. Sometimes we end up with a word like this, just because when they first used that word, nobody knew what it meant. So the writer used it, and sometimes he made up words, and they stuck. Okay, so that does happen. Now this is a fairly rare word. You won't see this one very much. Nobody ever uses it in speech. I mean, in 40 years of conversation in English, I've never once heard anybody use that word.
Confounded? Really? Wow.
Not once. So, and it's not because I talk to all stupid people. Right? So, it's just not a common word.
Oh.
But words like perplexia, my brother uses that one all the time, and like he's smart, but not in language. He's not a language student. Surprise, yeah, we saw it. Fascinate, yeah. Astound, yeah. Those are all very common words. Confound.
Since you seldom use the word, why you know the word means confused?
Because I've read it, and I've seen it used in contexts where the meaning is very clear, even though it's in a short expression. So, so I'm familiar with the word, but nobody I've ever talked to has used it. All right. So if you look at these words here, astound is very much like this one here. You see, this one is related to confuse. This one is related to astonish. There's a relationship between these vowel changes. Okay? So, it's not that you can always make that link, but it happens often enough that if you have no idea what it means, this is a good place to start. It's a good way to guess. Okay? So, confounded, confused, astounded, astonished, which makes it very similar to amazed, right? So, this one goes with this meaning. Fascinated means something quite different, right? Have you all seen this word before? Fascinate? No? If something fascinates you, then it draws your attention. It makes you want to look more carefully. So, for some reason, this part of the desk is fascinating. Whenever students are sitting usually in the middle or the back, they have to start playing with this, and they take it out, and I don't know what's so fascinating about these things, but I have a group of students I see fairly often. Every time they come to the room, they have to take these out and play with them. They're fascinating, all right? It draws their attention. Or, for me, grammar is fascinating. Once I get into a question, I can't look away. I have to figure it out. I spend half my time when I'm grading exams or students' homework, I spend half my time looking up stuff in my books because they make a really strange sentence, and I think, I wonder, could I use it that way? What would it mean if I said, is there some relationship with the Chinese? And I start to wonder about that, and I get focused on that question because the grammar fascinates me, okay? So this one has a very strong meaning. It doesn't really have any other meanings at all. It's like with cats, you know? If you take a light, a flashlight, and you shine it on the floor and wave it around, then a cat it can't look away. The cat will always chase the moving light, right? Surprise, this one you all know, right? Surprise.
First day party, surprise!
Yeah. I have a funny joke about that, but it's a little bit racist, so maybe another time. Anyways,
there's no other race here.
So, anyway, surprise is a very different meaning. If you are amazed, sometimes you are also surprised, right? Astonished can mean surprised.
Amazed means amazing, right? For example, hey, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
it is a positive meaning word.
Exactly. It has a positive connotation.
So surprise is okay to
It's
be used in this
neutral.
sense.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if something is amazing, if you're amazed, it's a lot like surprised because you didn't expect it. You didn't know that this would happen. But
The key word is confounded.
yeah, this amazed has this positive connotation. All right? We usually use it for good things. Sometimes people will say, I'm amazed at how stupid they are. But usually we don't. Usually amazing has positive feelings to it. All right? Astonished, same thing. Astounded is a bit more, there's a relationship between these two a little bit, but it's not what we're looking for here. Now, perplexed. This one, you'll see this root P-L-E-X in English in a lot of places. One of the most common words, complex. And it's really a very simple idea. It's related, it comes from the word for apply. Toilet paper, right? Toilet paper is supposed to be soft. It's more comfortable that way. But if the school is really cheap, they will buy single-ply toilet paper. It means each piece is only one sheet. It's really thin, and so it breaks all the time. Or if it's thick, it's kind of like paper, right? The really soft toilet paper is called 2-ply or 3-ply because there's 3 pieces folded together, okay? So when we talk about ply, we often today mean how many layers it has together, okay? But the original meaning here is just fold. Fold. So if you have a really simple idea, you take a piece of paper, it's simple. But if I want to turn this paper into a frog, right? Then I have to fold it and fold it and fold it and fold it. I have to fold it many times, so it is complex. It's not simple anymore. It has many folds in it. So that's where that root comes from. It's a really common one in English. We do see those plex words and ply a lot. Now, perplex, that per at the beginning means it's too complicated. It's too confusing. I don't understand. So, perplexed, confounded, because 我不懂, right? It's that idea, 不了解, it's too complicated, too complex. I can't see it through. I can't understand it. So, perplexed is the one you want here. Again, though, it's not important if you remember all of these words. That doesn't matter. You can forget them all. What matters is you can understand how the ideas work. When we have a group of words like this, it's important to understand they're similar. They're not the same. So if you want to say surprised, and what you say instead is fascinated, people will misunderstand you. They won't know what you mean. And they'll understand the wrong idea. Okay? So that's one reason why Google Translate is really, really bad. If you look up a word in Google, it will give you the first idea, the most common one, the one that everybody looks for. And most of the time it will be wrong because it has 10 other uses, 10 other meanings. Okay? So that's why the dictionaries are so important. If you can learn how to use a good dictionary, then when you look up a word, you can read the whole explanation. You can see everything about it before you decide which meaning is right. Okay? So, 这个有没有问题? Okay, great. John was so mixed up that he couldn't answer the teacher's question. In this sentence here, we have a lot of information that helps us to understand what it means. So first guess, he could not understand. 所以他很快乐吗？ If you have to pick an idea, he couldn't understand, or he couldn't answer the question. So maybe he didn't understand the question. Maybe he had too many ideas and he couldn't pick the right one, right? If we look at this mix, you know, mixing means you take a lot of stuff and you mix it together, right? So he was mixed up. It doesn't mean we have John and Bob and Tim and we mix them all together, right? It's not that. He was mixed up. This is talking about what's in his head. He has all these ideas. They're all mixed together. He can't pick the right one. So the best choice. What do you guys think?
He thought about that.
He's in doubt, but you have to be careful. Doubtful does not mean in doubt. Doubtful means full of doubt.
What's the difference between in doubt and full of doubts?
That's a good question. Let's look at that one afterwards, okay? So, if John was doubtful, we kind of need something for him to be doubtful about. That's part of the problem. What does he doubt? Right? Confident. Is that the right answer? No, that's the opposite, right? So we know it's not confident. Delighted. 这个字有什么意思？有看过吗？
Happy,
Happy.
pleased.
If you are happy, you're delighted, that means you're really pleased, really satisfied. Delight. This word here